Wednesday Week is sponsored by Oddballs, a Speciality. Go to www.oddballsaspeciality.com.
Chance here, a great save, a turner from McClare. Mike Hunt, a terrific goal by Sheridan.
Brexman against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there that would have trouble saving that.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Wednesday Week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm Lord Hillsborough, and with me on the line we've got Eddie.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge. By street knowledge, obviously, I mean small roads in villages in North Yorkshire. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Eddie, old boy. We've got Jamesy. How are you, James, old boy?
What on earth is he talking about?
Not got the foggiest. Not the foggiest. And we've got Victoria.
Good evening, my lord. It's quite worrying that Eddie has been allowed to spawn children.
It's funny because they're not mine.
I was going to say somehow they've come out the most beautiful children you could ever possibly imagine a child to be. So they're blatantly not Eddie's.
It's because they're full of street knowledge. Of course, we are one member missing this evening. Mr. Fudge is off doing his Fudgy type things. So,
what's he doing tonight, Your Lordship?
He's football training because apparently he's a 6-year-old boy. So he's football training tonight. I can only assume he's football training with a lot of freshers or something along that ilk, being the fudginess he is. But of course, we shall miss him as usual. Anyway. Never mind, Fudge. Let's crack on. And how about we'll talk about a little bit of Wednesday news, shall we? Of course, we haven't got an actual game to speak about this week because we've had an international break. I'm sure James could fill in all our marvellousness about the non-league game he went to see. James, Saturday, Hull FC. Can you remember?
No. Look, it was a great experience. I had a lovely day there. They sell this amazing product that is steak and Henderson's pasties, which are better than anything that I've ever eaten at Hillsborough. You can buy beer and watch the football live at the same time. Which is probably the beginning of my downfall as the game went on. But yeah, fantastic experience, really good. And I got a chat to someone who says that normally they get crowds of about 100 or so, and they got 300 at the weekend. So
brilliant.
That's a couple hundred more than they get. So I think
really
fair play.
Taking a collection box now.
fair play to all those Wednesdayites that went down and got in for free. That'll have really helped them.
Absolutely. I think all the
encourages one more person to go and watch them when Wednesday aren't at home, then it's worth it to them, isn't it? So
absolutely, and I would argue that whatever I didn't pay to get in, I certainly repaid in beer money.
Did they win?
No, they lost, unfortunately. It was a top-of-the-table clash, second against third, but it was a really tight game. Unfortunately, they lost 2-1, but they played pretty well. It was a good end-to-end match.
Did that kid called, is it Mika, did he play? Because he looked class when I saw them. He looked
Mika,
really good.
I'm pretty certain that he's a singer. Don't think he's lining up for Hull FC at the moment.
Oh, God. Why do I even log on?
We keep asking ourselves the same question. But no, of course, a fantastic day, James, and brilliant, absolutely fantastic. So let's crack on. What we'll do, of course, we've got 2 games to preview because we've got a midweek game as well. So first of all, we'll have a little chat about the Hull game, and then we'll move on to some Wednesday news. Of course, Hull, they're doing pretty well this season, but it has to be said, I mean, looking back at the last few games, they've not been exactly prolific in front of goal, have they? I mean, we're looking at drew 1-0 with QPR, won 1-0 against Swansea in the League Cup, of course. Again, 1 piece with Blackburn, and the won Forest 1-0 as well. So, I mean, can our defence have a nice restful day and just let Atty do all the work up front? Or
no.
That would be the simple way of doing it. We can't do it the simple way. No, it's weird this because Hull have actually got a fairly sturdy squad there, but it's not an amazing squad. They've kept a lot of the players that they had in the Premier League, so I don't really know what to expect from them. I think that they're one of the favourites to go up. It's certainly going to be a big test for us because we've won 4 games in a row, but I think it's fair to say a couple of those games we didn't play fantastic. A couple of games we were against fairly poor opposition. This is when we're coming against someone that's a real favourite for promotion this season. But we've had 2 weeks to kind of work on stuff to maybe plug those holes at the back that we've been struggling with over the last few games. So yeah, game on. Let's do it.
The interesting thing for me is going to be whether we haven't shown that we can step up against a quality team in this division yet. We've flattered to deceive. We were good against Burnley for the most part. We were good in spells against Middlesbrough, but we ended up with 0 points out of those games. Hull is a test, but we're at home. We're rested. Like you say, the team have had chance to cohese some more. Probably there's been an awful lot of work on certain defensive schemes, that kind of stuff. So I'd really like to see us come out and try and get on the front foot on this game. I know Hull are, in theory, a team at the top of the table. We're so early in the season that tables don't matter. We all know that. We talk about it every week. Let's think about it. We're only 3 points behind them. We've had a couple of dodgy results. I think they've probably had a couple of lucky results. I don't see them as a team to be feared, but at the same time, I think we need to try and dominate them on our own patch, dictate play, and I think it will come to us. I think if we stand off them and wait for them to decide how the game's going to go, we'll come a cropper.
No, absolutely. I think I would expect when we play Hull to have a game like when we play Brentford, a close match. I would have liked to have destroyed Brentford, and then obviously when it comes to playing teams at the top of the table, we'd expect to be promoted like Hull for it to be that sort of close-knit game to show that we're on a level with that sort of team. But again, we'll have to see. Of course, I've got Hernandez up front with his ridiculous backwards afro and his Alice band, and course, that'll just keep my interest the whole game more than anything else. Steve Bruce is always a manager that I don't know why I've always kind of liked Steve Bruce with his ridiculous...
Can I tell you a Steve Bruce story?
I
Please do.
Expect nothing less.
Let me take you back to May 2005.
Those were the days.
We were at Cardiff, and Steve Bruce, we got tickets just above the corner flag. I think, weren't we? Couldn't I see you, Eddie, from where we were or something? I can't remember. Weren't we near to you?
Yeah, I think you spent most of the time concentrating on me rather than the most exciting game you've had in the last 15 years.
I was like 17. I was really, really drunk. So we were sat...
My perfect woman, in many ways.
We were sat above the corner flag, and Steve Bruce was sat about 12, 15 seats to our right in like the executive but not executive bit. And from the minute Alex Bruce came on the pitch until the minute we lift that trophy, he sobbed his heart out. He was so, so proud. It was such a lovely thing to see. It was genuinely like, because you see these people, don't you? And you think, oh, he's a football manager. He's a strict guy. That's what he does. That's his job. But when his little boy came on that pitch, he was sobbing. And I have loved him since that moment because it showed some real humility. And it showed that he is actually just a dad as well, even though obviously Alex Bruce plays for every team that he ever manages.
Well, that makes him a dad. Absolutely. You'll definitely give your son a job.
It's a bit like Jimmy Grumble, isn't it? Pass it to Alex. Pass it to Alex. Pass it to Alex. But I genuinely, I fell in love with him from that day. I thought he was a lovely, lovely guy. And obviously he has ties with other sides. But I really, really liked him from that day forward. He was so, so proud, and he was sat on his own. I don't think his wife was with him or anything, and he was really, really emotional. So I like him for that, but I do want to stuff Hull. So
is Steve Bruce married?
I don't know. He seemed to be on his own. I presume at some point he met some sort of Bruce lady and made Alex, but
Bruce lady, like what is that? Like Bruce Lee?
I just took a swing of tea then when you said that.
If Steve Bruce is married, then there's hope for all of us, isn't there?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, hell, I'm getting married, so there's definitely hope for all of us.
But no, I mean, I do hope we can make him sob the weekend as well. And I really would like to see, as Eddie said, really give Hull a game at the very, very least, and just show that how far we've come after we're all cohesed now.
Just on the subject of the game against Hull on Saturday, this is a serious question now, and this is something that's been on my mind this week, because obviously it's on Sky, so it's a lunchtime kickoff. I think it's 12:30 it kicks off on Saturday, and they always bother me, these early lunchtime kickoffs, and we're going to have to get used to it, because next season we'll be in the Premier League and we'll be kicking off at lunchtime every Saturday.
Think how early you get to see me though. How exciting!
That's been on my mind as well.
Yeah.
But for a 3:00 kickoff, it's perfectly acceptable to be in the pub at 12. So if it's a 12:30 kickoff, what time is it acceptable to go to the pub?
It's like every day is Derby Day. You know, think back to the promotion season, that last game at home against the Blades. I was in the pub from 8 o'clock in the morning, and I plan to replicate that for the entirety of our stay in the Premier League, however long that may be, or however long my liver lasts.
Can I just put out a message there to the listeners? Please don't follow Eddie's lead of being in the pub from 8 a.m. in the morning. Just drink sensibly. It's not big. It's not clever.
I did, because this has been kind of on my mind, I thought I would throw it out to the Wednesday faithful this morning and kind of see what people thought was acceptable. Quite a few people saying that just carrying on drinking from Friday night is fine, which I quite like.
Was that Eddie?
Including Matthew Swindle, who says, just stay out from Friday evening. 12:30 kickoffs are essentially football's answer to Space Ibiza.
All right.
Reach
for the lasers.
Sheffield Wednesday versus Hull City. Space Ibiza.
My favourite, I think, came from friend of the podcast, Jeffrey, who's over in the States, who says that kickoff there is 7 o'clock in the morning. So that's when they're going to start drinking. So from that, I think 7 o'clock, fair enough. I'll be knocking on the door of the Rossum Spring, 7 o'clock Saturday morning. And
You'll be knocking on my door, that's the worrying.
They damn well better open, otherwise I'm going to Vic's.
Well, we have arranged, haven't we, James? If anyone wants to join, which I'm sure no one will, we're going to the Riverside at 9:30 for a breakfast and a pint.
Just to clarify, that's the Riverside Cafe, not the Riverside Pub, because that's a bit rough.
Or not just hanging about at the Riverside.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll be there at like 9:25.
Bottle of cider.
Go and see all the blunts. No, that's absolutely fantastic. Of course, we shall see what happens. It's going to be a belting game with a lot of tipsy Wednesday fans with their bacon butties and bottles of cider. It's going to be fantastic times had by all. Right, so let's crack on with some Wednesday news. Of course, with a few bits and bobs, even though we are sort of in the international break. The main thing, one of the main things, should I say, this week is that Mr. Lavery has once again popped out on loan to Portsmouth. Of course, Portsmouth have not been doing fantastically just recently. They're sort of on the way back up again. It's one of those money situations that we've had, and it could have quite easily happened to us, what's happened to them. And I mean, do we think this is a good move for Lavery?
Yeah, I think it is. Portsmouth are a team, they've got a great fan base. You know, they've still got a good stadium there. There's a lot of history involved in that club. He's played for their manager before, Paul Cook, when he was at Chesterfield. He went on loan there. I think it was last season, wasn't it? And did really well. And eventually, of course, we recalled him and he scored a couple of goals for us back end of last season. So I think it's a good move for him. There's part of me that's sort of a little bit sad about this because I really want him to do well. I really want him to break into the first team because we've brought him through and because, you know, there's just something likeable about the kid, isn't he? He works quite hard. He's got something. But whether or not it's quite at the level that we are now, I don't know. I hope that he goes there and scores an absolute hatful in League Two and can kind of break back into our first team squad. But there's part of me that thinks, I don't know, is this it now? Is this pretty much, have we seen the last of Lavery in a Wednesday shirt?
There's always the fear that, you know, they go and they don't come back, you know, because they're going on loan, especially 2 divisions down. But I think Keelan Lavery is a fantastic player. He's got a great work ethic. I think he's got the talent. So maybe it's just about match sharpness. This, you know, he might get his fire back and start to really challenge. Because, you know, let's face it, it's a hell of a lot easier for a striker to get into consideration at Sheffield Wednesday at the moment than probably any other position. So if he goes and sets the world on fire, but more importantly for Carlos and for the coaching staff, actually show that he's working really, really hard on his football, then there's every chance that he might be back in the blue and white stripes and get another chance. And I think we all share that. I think we're all a bit of a flag waver for him, because he's always shown a lot of he's always shown a lot of work ethic. And I think he's shown a bit of talent as well. So, we wish him the best. I hope it's adieu rather than goodbye. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be interesting to see how he does down there, because you'd expect him to dominate at that level.
Right, so yes, of course, we always elaborate the best, and as Eddie says, let's hope he comes back all full of goals and jolliness and wonderfulness from Portsmouth, and bring us some rock back as well. Go on. Another bit of Wednesday news that's come in. Lee Bullen has been officially rolled out as the assistant coach, which is brilliant news.
It's amazing news. Do you know what? Like, I've lived through David Hurst, Chrissy Waddle, stuff like that, but I don't particularly remember those moments. But Bully, to me, is what a Wednesday legend should be. He's always had the club at heart. I know him personally. He's such a nice guy. He's such a big fan, and he really gets us. And I think what better person to work with a team now that are trying to push on to the next level than somebody who's played in every position, been a captain and a club captain, not just a team captain. He's managed everything, and he's got us to where we are today. And I think hats off to him. I think it's a great appointment. It was always going to happen. It was just a case of when. He's said himself that it's made no difference particularly, because it's just a piece of paper, I think were his exact quotes. But I think now it's all official. Brilliant. Let's build on that.
It's a vital part of the jigsaw, isn't it? When we've got a foreign head coach, we've got a lot of new players coming in. You need that. Almost like the Gary Megson taking new players up to the back of the cop type thing. You need people who understand what it is to be part of this club. And we, the fans, and the atmosphere and the history, we go a long way to creating that. You see how Carlos has reacted already to being part of the Wednesday family, but actually having someone like Bully at his side who understands where the club has been, understands where the club dearly wants to go, and understands how what needs to happen to get there. I think it's an absolutely vital part of the jigsaw. I couldn't be happier with this appointment. I'm really glad that it's kind of been done full time now, that he doesn't have to keep one eye on the development side of the club. What he can be now is effectively Carlos's right hand man.
I think as well, I think he can tell them about Cardiff. And you imagine if we got into the playoffs for the Premiership, it would be double the amount of people. It would be double the excitement. And he can tell them what he felt on that one day. Yeah. And the one photo to remember of Bully is that one in the showers, the can of Carlsberg, whatever it was. Yeah. That is the photo that sums up Lee Bullen to an absolute T. If you don't know him personally, if you know him personally, anything, that completely sums him up. And I think that if he can pass on that moment to those players, even a smidgen of what he felt that day, he should inspire people.
I want to know, does this mean there's going to be less chance that I see him in the morning? Because I live quite close to Ecclesall Road, and he is, I think he's a director or something of Spencer's Estate Agents, which is just around the corner. So, he owns it. Well, there we go. So I always used to see him in his full suit and tie arriving there as I leave for work, and then somehow he's at the training pitch in his full football gear by like 9 o'clock in the morning. Now he's going to be working more hours for the football club. I might not see him. That's one of the few things that I can look forward to on my drive to work. So I am personally completely against this appointment. I think it's terrible.
I'm sure you can leave him a little love note for his way on his way there. James, that'd be absolutely spot on.
I think that says a lot about Bully as well. I mean, I know that he met Nick, his partner, Nicola Spencer, whose parents owned Spencer's Estate Agents. He met her down here while he was playing at Wednesday. They got together. They've had twins together. Beautiful. And he's got involved with her business as well. He's dead keen on being part of Sheffield. If anything, Nicola keeps him here. So if we can add Wednesday into the mix as well, we've got him for life.
Absolutely. A bit of a good old family blackmail, that'll keep him here, certainly. No, it's brilliant news. It's absolutely fantastic. And of course, who better to show Carlos the ropes of Sheffield Wednesday Football Club than, as Victoria said, and again, we throw this word out a lot, but he really is a true Wednesday legend, isn't he? So that's absolutely brilliant. Right then, so next thing on the agenda, the Arsenal ticket sales. James, been a bit of an interesting one, this one, hasn't it?
This was brilliant the other day. So many people that were posting these screenshots on Twitter and stuff of being sat in the queue on the internet, which is normally only happens when like Currys do their January sale and Black Friday people trying to get on the Apple website to save 14 pence off an iPad, things like that. So we had this queue of, I think it was more than like 800 people at one point who were all queuing online to try and get tickets for the Arsenal match. It was brilliant to see because it's been a long time since we've had a game that's not been, think of the Wigan game, but other than that, that's not been a Sheffield United game where people have been kind of clambering for tickets. I just think it's been great. There's been a lot of talk about it, and it's been a little annoying with people making kind of snide comments on Twitter and stuff about part-time fans and things like that. I think we need to stop that and get rid of that. I think that's getting quite boring now. I don't think we'd rather see 18,000 people there for Arsenal. We want to see 30,000 plus there, and it sounds like we're well on the way to getting that. Was it 25,000 home tickets sold by close of play today?
Brilliant.
Still queues for people buying tickets online today, which is fantastic. So yeah, it looks like we might break that 30,000 mark, which is brilliant. And real credit to everyone. The tickets aren't dirt cheap, but everyone's kind of made that effort and they're coming out and they're going to go at the game, even though it's on TV. So I think that's fantastic.
I'm not going to be at the game because I'm actually on holiday.
Typical.
That week. I know, part-time. So I'll be watching from the football factory in New York's Manhattan with the New York Owls. Hashtag Bose Post. Hashtag First World Problems.
Drunken interview, please.
little bit. But no. So this week I wanted to get involved with the feeling of it. So I joined the queue on the internet and. You know what? The camaraderie was amazing. It was brilliant. People were passing back, little Facebook likes, and everyone was sharing in the the experience that we got. At one point, I was number 470 in the queue.
Did you not feel guilty for number 471?
Well, no, because obviously, I stuck around, so I was number 287, and then I logged off. So obviously, he jumped up the queue, and he would have thought, oh, the queue's moving a bit faster now. I'll be there soon. So yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant to have what's going to be a sellout at Hillsborough. It's going to be for the first time. I can't remember the last time we had a huge cup tie with
Manchester City.
Well, yeah, but that was they were away, weren't they? All of these great cup days.
I mean the last one I can remember is when Glenn Whelan scored against Manchester City.
Oh, in the replay.
That was a hell of a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but even then, City weren't huge then, were they? They were big, but they weren't massive. And it was only one massive, of course. So it's good that even though this is the Fizzy Pop Cup, as we used to call it, we're going to get a full Hillsborough, which is something we're not going to see again this season unless we carry on in the cup, or unless we get to the point of kind of the sharp end of the season and promotion dreams and all that sort of stuff. So I'm really glad that the Wednesday fans have bought into it, because I think it's been very easy for people to point the finger so far this season, not only at the ticket prices, but also at the appetite of the Wednesday fans for getting behind the team. I think this is going to be a really good occasion. There's going to be a lot of great feeling around it. I actually don't think the result matters massively. I don't know whether Arsenal are going to put out a really strong team or a really weak team or something in the middle, but what it's going to do, it's going to reinvigorate a lot of people to the idea of seeing a bouncing full Hillsborough on a big occasion, with the big screen and the new pitch and the Zebra Finance logos on the back of the cup, all of that stuff. But it's new for a lot of people. So, fantastic. I think the Wednesday fans have responded really well to it.
See, I'm all for the plastic fans thing, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't go to away games anymore, but I've had a season ticket for 27 years. My fiance is a part-time Wednesday fan. With him on his football manager, he's Sheffield Wednesday. On FIFA, he's Sheffield Wednesday. But he's actually a Bradford City fan. But he asked me to get him a ticket for this game. So I'm out of my normal seat, just so I can sit next to him. Christ. But 25 quid. Oh, no. In fact, he's paid £33 for his ticket. In fact, he hasn't paid. Chuff. But he owes me £33 for his ticket. I just remembered that.
Does it matter how much the ticket is if he hasn't paid?
Yes, it does, because now he owes me 33, but that can go in the wedding fund. But what I mean is
Exactly.
that 33 quid is coming to our club. Does it matter? Does it matter if they're not going every single week? Does that really matter? We've got Sky Sports. He could quite easily sit in the front room, open a window, have the live sort of crowd noise, and watch it on Sky. But he's not. He's going to the match. And at the end of the day, I don't give a toss if you've not been to a match in 10 years. If you can get behind the team for that one night, pay your money, happy days.
I think it certainly shows Mr. Chansiri as well what would happen when we do get to the promised land, if you like. I mean, we've all been to Hillsborough whilst we've been in the Premiership, etc., etc., etc. And there's no getting away from the fact that if we're playing good teams and watching good football, there's going to be more people at the game. And as soon as Mr. Chansiri sees that and he experiences that real sort of bounce in Hillsborough with 30,000 people sat watching the game, you never know. Maybe we might see that a little bit more investment at the end of the season, so he can get that back at Hillsborough. And he's going to recoup his costs when we get there. So, yeah, it's cracking, brilliant. Right, so Eddie, you mentioned there, of course, about the new signage on the Kop. Bit of an interesting one. It's caused a little bit of a stir on the social media, hasn't it?
So listen, so if a whole load of workmen had turned up at the top of the Kop today and started preparing the corrugated iron to be sprayed in a new shade of blue, everyone would have gone, yeah, Mr. Chansiri, you understand, we're revamping the stadium, it's going to look great, fantastic, brilliant. What actually happened, a lot of workmen turned up, and what they've done is covered up an awful lot of that corrugated iron with some black and white and green.
A big sheet.
Big sheets. Okay, so advertising, proud sponsors, zebra claims, ambulance chasing solicitors, proud sponsors Sheffield Wednesday. Okay, fine. You know what? It probably actually makes the Kop look slightly less dilapidated, and I don't mean that in a Blades way. They always laugh about our rusty stadium, whereas their Kop is A, bonsai because it's so bloody small, and B, pink and ugly. It looks like the crappiest branch of B&Q ever. So
not that we're bothered about them,
but not that I don't even know who they are. I don't know
No,
why I'm talking about
never
them.
heard of him.
So what we've got now is probably a very effective advertising campaign for one of the club sponsors. In light of the fact that we're on TV our next 3 home games, actually I think it's a really good move by the club. It's generating some revenue. Does it make the Kop look any worse? No. The fact that it's covered up our 3D owl and has replaced it with another owl logo, which is actually bigger than the original one.
And a zebra.
Well, we've got zebras and owls on the Kop. We should probably open it up as a zoo. We'll put Flamingo Land out of business. So, you know what? I actually think it's an example for once of Wednesday doing the whole, off the pitch revenue generation thing properly. So 2 thumbs up from me. Would I prefer it if we didn't have to have advertising on the back of the Kop? Absolutely. But you know what? Right decision at the right time. It seems to have been done a half decent way. Get on with it. Happy days.
It's almost a shame that we're recording this tonight and not last night, because now obviously we know why the owl disappeared. Last night, the theories on Twitter were fantastic. The serious theories, less interested. But the people, quite a few people who were saying, "I'll obviously take it down because they're taking it to the New York Stadium." I quite like that. And my favourite was someone that said I wonder if Steve Evans is sleeping well, cuddling up to his new owl in bed, which was good. In all seriousness, though, I think we've got to think of it this way, which is that the ticket prices went up, and there was a backlash. People complained, and the chairman listened. And since then, since the Bristol City game, where the tickets were quite pricey, we've got it pretty much, I think, on bang on in terms of the ticket prices for the games. But the problem is that we need to find a way of raising income. We've got to comply with financial fair play, but we've also got to sign the players that we need to get us to where we want to go. So we've got a chairman who's had a look and think this is a good way of making money without that much impact on people. We can't have it everywhere that we want it. Yeah, we want our stadium to look beautiful, and we don't want to have to put big adverts on it. But if it's a choice between this and selling naming rights for the stadium, then it's absolutely the right choice.
Do you know what? I wouldn't give it a toss if they called it the Zebra Claim Stadium. I'm not bothered. It'll always be Hillsborough. It's where it is. It's the place that it's in. It's not like when you go to different grounds that are called the so-and-so arena or whatever, that's not in that area. It's still in Hillsborough. It will always be Hillsborough Stadium. Call it what you want, just buy us Conor Wickham.
It was very nearly the Sondico Arena, wasn't it? I don't know how I felt about that.
That's fine. Why? Because you would still say, are you going to Hillsborough on Saturday? You would not say to anyone, are you going to the Sondico Arena? You wouldn't.
No, even now, no Middlesbrough fans are like, "What? Are we off to the BT Cellnet later on?" No, of course not. It's the Riverside. Everybody.
It's still St James's Park.
It's fine. Yeah.
You know, it's not the Sports Direct Arena or whatever it was. No one cares about that. That is, if I was in well, I do work in marketing, but if I worked for a marketing company that owned something, I wouldn't be like desperate to call an arena or a stadium after myself. Because what's the point? Everyone still calls it the same thing. So as far as I'm concerned, it'll always be Hillsborough. It'll always have a history, good and bad, obviously. But name it what you want. Just give us a bit of money. I'm not bothered.
Yeah, the name it what you want thing. I know we'd all still call it Hillsborough, but it's just when it's on the TV and things, and you've got pundits pumping out all these ridiculous names. Yes, we all know it's Hillsborough, but I don't want to hear the Sondico Arena pumping out on Sky Sports and things like that.
But would you like to hear the Sondico Arena with, like, a good player up front, or Gary Cahill in defence?
How dare you? We've got Atty up front. We don't need anybody.
That's true. So go Gary Cahill in defence. Would you take the Adidas Sports Stadium?
It goes back to the old...
Of course you would. You would. You would.
Yeah. Would I have to be Lord Sondico?
No, because would you text your mates? The main thing is, on a Saturday morning, would you text your mates and say, are you going to the Sondico Arena today? Or would you say, are you going to Hillsborough?
Well, yes, exactly.
That's the main thing.
Absolutely.
And if they're willing to pay for that privilege, fine.
Is it possible for us to have some middle ground here? What about we rename Jose Semedo Jose Sondico?
I mean,
take it.
Absolutely. Everybody's happy.
You never get past Sondico.
My only worry with us calling it the Sondico Arena is that Vic and Eddie wouldn't be able to work out which way the stripes on the pitch were going.
That is very true. We just have to tilt our heads and hope for the best. I thought we'd have raised over that and just pretended it never happened.
Oh, God, no. You're never going to live that one down, Victoria. Now, we did pop a little bit of a tweet out earlier from the TWWcast Twitter account. Bit of a poll on this for the Wednesdayites, because I must admit, it's a little bit different to what I thought it would be. Quite simply, poll for tonight's show: retweet if you think show me the money, and fave if you think bring back our lovely 3D owl. Retweets 50, favourites 28. So I'm surprised how many favourites.
I retweeted.
But no, I'm sure after a while, I mean, it's such a big thing anyway, it wouldn't surprise me if it blew away in the wind and took half the cup with it, but it's absolutely huge.
It'll be in my back garden by tomorrow morning. We can have a marquee. Let's have a marquee.
Oh, no. Jeeves, we're going to need some more equipment.
Then you need to speak to Oddballs, a speciality.
What the?
Oddballs, a speciality deal in steel, food, and engineering equipment.
Where's that voice coming from?
We offer great deals on all types of equipment and can include dismantling, delivery, and erection anywhere in the world.
Did he just say erection?
We can also buy your surplus equipment or sell it on commission. With over 30 years' experience, let us achieve the best deal for you.
Where can I find out more, Voice in the Sky?
Go to www.oddballsaspeciality.com.
You heard him, folks. Jeeves, get a broom. Right, so of course we have had the international break, and James, we've had a few Wednesdayites involved in it, haven't we?
Yeah, it occurred to me on Friday night as I was watching England, enthralled in the game as I was. There was a moment when Jamie Vardy came on Friday night, where for the first time, certainly that I can remember, that we had two Sheffield Wednesday fans playing for England at the same time. And I thought that was brilliant. That was a kind of a special moment for us.
I agree. I think it's brilliant. I went to school with Gary Cahill. So at school, there was always a kid in Wednesday's Academy, United's Academy, whatever else. And Gary Cahill wasn't that popular in the football. He was obviously popular because he was a very attractive, very beautiful man, went out with the most beautiful girl in school. But he played for Aston Villa, so nobody gave a shit. Everyone was kind of like, oh yeah, Gaz is at Villa, whatever. And I don't think anyone realised what he was going to become. I can happily say that I'm still friends with his wife. They've been together since they were about 13, 14, and he's a genuine Sheffield lad. I always remember that there was someone on Twitter a few years ago when we beat United at home, and someone said, like, the worst part of the day was that they had to sit in the Wednesday end. The United fan had to sit in the Wednesday end with their Wednesday friends. So that was bad enough. When we scored, that was bad enough. He turned around and Gary Cahill was celebrating, and he was like, for fuck's sake, like, what is this? But Jamie Vardy is actually my cousin's best friend, and grew up about 5 roads away from me. And he's always been a Wednesday fan. He's always been a bit of a character, but genuinely is a Wednesday fan.
Are you being polite there, Victoria?
Yes.
He's a bit of a lad, isn't he?
He knows where I live.
Oh, you're a one, aren't you?
But he was turned away from Wednesday's academy for being too small. Actually, as far as I know, I don't think Gary Cahill ever went to our academy. I'm not 100%. I'll ask his wife. I'm not completely sure. But I know Jamie was turned away from our academy for being too small. And Jamie has had issues, and he went non-league, and he's built his way back up, and now look at him. Like, he's playing for England, you know. But I think he is a testament to Sheffield lads who are willing to give it a go. And he's never given up.
I love your story. You know, I was going to chip in with my story about playing Soggy Biscuit with Derek Geary, but that's going to have to wait for the time. You know what? You know what is the best thing about it is the fact that, right, we're on the up and up, okay? We've got a chance of getting into the Premier League in the next few years. Let's just whisper it. Maybe it might happen. You know what? If we establish ourselves in the Premier League, there's every chance that we're going to have the opportunity to poach these players and actually get them to fulfill a childhood dream of playing for Wednesday in the Premier League. Yeah. Absolutely, of course they would. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine getting England internationals, not Andy Hinchcliffe, England internationals playing at Sheffield Wednesday again? That's what excites me. The fact that, that we have been in the doldrums for so long, that players who have had to go to other youth setups and academy setups and have therefore had success have the chance of fulfilling a childhood dream. I would love it. I would absolutely love it if Gary Cahill lifts the World Cup for England as captain of both Sheffield Wednesday and England. It's going to happen. Mark my words. This is the first time it's been said, and it will happen. Eddie guarantees it.
And I think we've also solved the mystery of why Fudge is at football training, because clearly he's still trying to get that England spot. He's been inspired by
Fudge for England.
Never too late.
While we're talking about England, point of order here. Can we have a vote on whether or not we should implement a ban on every time Ross Barkley does anything remotely decent, everyone taking to Twitter and saying, "Oh, I learned all that on Wednesday."
Yep, seconded.
Yep, agreed.
To be fair,
it's banned.
I might be one of those people.
Well, it's 3 against 1, so sorry, Lord, you're just going to have to stop.
The thing is, as well, about Ross Barkley, it's like we're saying about Cahill, Vardy, whatever, but Barkley obviously will have a soft spot for us. Do you think it may be possible that in 8-10 years he may come back?
Are we saying that in 8 to 10 years we're going to have a spine of Gary Cahill,
yes,
Ross Barkley, Connor Wickham, and Jamie Vardy?
Well, Gary Cahill is 2 years older than me, so in 10 years he'll be 40.
It's going to be amazing. The scenes that are going to be happening at Hillsborough as we basically have 8 of the England first 11.
Do you know what? I can
Pavel
genuinely
Srdacek
see.
Still on the bench.
I can genuinely see Cahill coming back to us once he's given up on top flight stuff. I genuinely, his whole family's from Sheffield. His kids were born in Sheffield. I honestly think it could happen.
Stuart Downing went back to Borough, didn't he? There's
Exactly.
hope. There's hope.
To be fair, the way Chelsea are playing at the moment, I think he has more or less given up on top flight football.
Oh.
I won't be happy until Luke Bowden is back where he belongs in the Sheffield Wednesday Academy. Well, he's done his time in America. He's
done
excelled
his time
in the
megastar
MLS.
in Florida.
Yeah, exactly. He needs to get back into our academy side for his 17th year and get involved. Come on, Bods, let's have it.
Right then, so let's crack on with the next order of business, and I'll tell you what, let's have a chat about the QPR match, shall we? Of course, we've got after we've finished making Mr. Bruce cry on Saturday, we've got QPR on the Tuesday. Again, QPR are one of those teams that they're an odd team at the moment, aren't they? I mean, they had a belting game a while ago against Bolton, the 4-3 there. Brilliant game that was. And then the game after, they got battered by Fulham 4-0. And again, since then, they've had a couple of draws. They're a bit of an odd one to predict, these ones, aren't they?
They're rubbish. They're not a good team. Honestly, seriously, they are not a good team whatsoever. We should absolutely hammer them. We're going down there. We're into their backyard. It's exactly the sort of game that we, Sheffield Wednesday, win when we're the underdogs. So, forget anything else. QPR are a busted flush. They'll probably beat us 6-0, having said this. But this is the game. We should go down there and smug it out like we do against Millwall every year. Just go down there, Tuesday night match. We'll turn up, take the points, go home. Rubbish.
Or you could do what me and James are doing.
Uh-huh.
And go and watch it live at Hillsborough. How exciting is that? £10, free pint, happy days.
I'm absolutely over
is it
the moon
sold
about
out,
this.
James?
It's sold out. The first lot of tickets sold out in half an hour, which are for the 1867 lounge. So they opened up another 2 rooms, the Dooley suite and the Sheridan suite, and they both sold out in about 20 minutes flat. So it's sold out.
What room are we in?
We're in the main one, so we're in the 1867 suite. Shall we give out our seat numbers as well while we're talking about it, or
Yeah,
shall we save that for ourselves?
Where are we sitting?
Well, we don't. It's a free for all, isn't it? We'll just
Oh.
push some people out of the way. We'll do the whole. Don't you know who we are?
We're the podcast.
Yeah, we'll go.
Should we do drunk interviews with random fans on the night?
Interviews galore. It's going to be fantastic.
If you spot us, come and have a drunk interview.
In all seriousness, I'm really, really happy that we're doing this because now we're part of this. I think they're called ADI, the company that do the TV at most of the football grounds up and down the country. So when you're now at Hillsborough and when you go to away games where you can watch the match on the TVs at the back of the stand, all we're basically doing is we're just taking that feed from QPR and beaming it back to our big screen TVs in the pub at the ground. It's brilliant. I'm hoping we're going to do this for more games because I can't justify taking 2 days off work to go to QPR away. But I don't want to miss the match. Nothing against Radio Sheffield and listening to it on the radio, but it's not the same. So if we can do this for more of those, those really horrible away trips on a Tuesday night. We've got MK Dons on a Tuesday night later this season. We've got Brighton on a Tuesday night. Why they give us horrible away trips on a Tuesday night, I don't know. But if we can watch them all back at the stadium, I think it's brilliant. And fair play to Mr. Chansiri for making this happen.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we've spoken about revenue streams, and I should imagine that James's beer tableone is going to be not as unsubstantial.
As well,
yeah, I did mean to say as well, Mr. Chansiri, can I have an extra free pipe for giving it such a good plug on the podcast?
Absolutely.
Thanks,
but no, it's another revenue stream that's worth exploring, and I'm sure I can't see him losing money on it, can you? At the end of the day, we're going to be selling ale, and we're going to have people in the club and all that kind of thing. So, no, I think it's a fantastic idea. And if you're, as James and Victoria said, if you're going to, give us a shout and let you know what you thought about the day as well. And
come and find us. Let's have a drunk interview.
Why
not? Let's get as many as we can.
Right then, so has anybody else got any other business for this evening?
I do.
Fire away.
So, it's been the international break, so I want to know, how have we bonded? How would you like to think that we have bonded? Have we canoed like we did before Cardiff? Have we played poker? Have we had massages? Have we had face packs? What have we done?
Did I miss something? Did I miss a memo? Have we been for massages, Victoria?
No, but before
No, not us. We go for massages every week. Okay,
No,
that's
I
just
mean
part of our
we
preparation.
as a
We're talking about the
team.
squad, aren't we, Vic? Yeah.
We're all about a team, yes. So obviously before Cardiff, everyone went canoeing at Rother Valley, which was wonderful. Does anyone have any theories of what we might have done?
I think that we've all gone to work at the estate agents with Lee Bullen. And they've all been showing people around houses. That's what they've been doing.
I have heard an unsubstantiated rumour that the squad got together for a massive cross-squad risk tournament. And the highlight was a very, very tense battle over Kamchatka waged between Jose Semedo and Ross Wallace. I don't know the results yet. We might bring that next week. All I know is that there was an awful lot of artillery involved. So I'm hoping that that peace has broken out across the squad, because the last thing we need is an escalation of hostilities into either Central Africa or, of course, the Oceania region.
I heard a rumour that there was set like a Krypton Factor type challenge where they had several big banners advertising zebra claims. Had to scale the cop and hang them in the right positions. Took them 4 attempts apparently.
Okay, do we think it was like a hen night in Newcastle and all the team sat around and Darryl Latchman just paraded about in a thong?
I do hope not.
I don't think he'd have bothered with the thong, to be honest. He's not shy,
well,
is he?
In nothing, no. Exactly. in a Sondico thong. A nylon thong.
In a zebra claims themed pouch. That's all he needs.
And let's,
Exactly.
like at the pre-season training camp that they do, where Lee Bullen always films where they do their initiation song.
Yes.
Do we think that he's filmed this incident with Darryl Lackman? And if so, where do we get that footage from?
We need it on DVD, don't we, James? You can come round Sunday morning. We can sit and watch it together.
Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Wednesday.
Any morning.
Every
Any
morning.
is worth it. It's fine.
The Wednesday week is proud to be associated with Cavendish Cancer Care. Cavendish is a Sheffield charity dedicated to improving the quality of life for people living with cancer. No one should face cancer alone, so Cavendish provides emotional support through counselling and complementary therapies. The services they provide are free of charge and are funded through donations. If you can help or would like to find out more information, you can go to www.cavcare.org.uk. That's CAVCARE.org.uk. Right, I'm not sure if you chaps and chapettes heard as well. There was a wonderful interview by Rob Staten with our glorious leader. I probably shouldn't call him that, eh? But no, it was an absolutely brilliant interview with Carlos this week. And I don't know if did you guys hear the interview too?
Yeah. So, you know what? The thing, it's a great interview, and I think everybody should listen to it. It's on the iPlayer. So if you get onto the BBC website, get on the iPlayer, you can listen to all of Football Heaven, and Rob did a fantastic job interviewing. But you know what? Carlos is clearly a fantastic subject to interview. He's going to be the gift that keeps on giving. And the bit for me that really, literally, it took my heart away. I really got quite emotional about it. Was Carlos talking about the fact that he lives apart from his family now, and he lives in Sheffield. And what he says is, my family understand that Sheffield Wednesday is my family. And there are times where he just goes to sleep in the ground. He doesn't even go home. He doesn't go to his lodging. He just goes to sleep in the ground because that's his family.
Just in
now.
the 1867 lounge. Just
pretty
much.
Yeah, to be honest, because he can go wherever he wants. So presumably, he's not going to go into the Sheridan Suite, is he? Because it's a bit dank and rubbish. So he goes where he wants, and he just, I guess, a kip on. I love that. That is, I don't think there's anyone, even Semedo is probably going, Carlos, calm down a bit, mate. It took me a year to fall into the place. He just seems to have gone absolutely rogue on it. But hey, long may it continue.
To be fair, I think, again, we do see James fall asleep at Hillsborough most weeks. Usually for a different reason altogether.
Hey.
But no, the interview was fantastic. It's always lovely to hear Carlos speak as well, because I can't help. I mean, certainly his English is far better than my Portuguese. But with things like we try to do a goal and I keep my feet on the ground, oh my word, it's just adorable, isn't it?
I have to confess, I haven't actually heard the interview yet. Naturally, with it being on the BBC, I take no interest in it because commercial radio is much better. But no, I do intend to have a listen to it, actually. And I've had a couple of friends that have texted me this evening saying, did you hear it? Absolutely love Carlos to bits. So I think real credit to the guy for doing that, because he doesn't have to. It's not something he's forced to do. It's an optional thing. And so the fact that, we've got this guy who cares that much about the club now, and he cares about the fans that much now, that he wants to do stuff like that. He wants people to get to know him, I think is really nice.
Right then, ladies and gentlemen, that'll just about bring us to an end for this week's show. Eddie, if people want to find your nonsense over there online, where can we find that, tall boy?
So I am on Twitter, as always, at Sausage Arms. As of Wednesday this week, I will be exploring what it is to be a soccer fan in the USA for a week. Luckily, we're on Sky for all of the matches, so I'm going to be able to. I'm not actually going to miss a beat. It's going to be fantastic. So, if there's anything that you want to communicate to the Wednesday fans across the pond, then make sure you DM me or send me a public response. I'm going to be tweeting live from the football factory next door to the Empire State Building when it comes to the Arsenal game. So I'm very excited. It's going to be excellent. But yes, all comers are welcome.
Brilliant. Victoria, if people want to find your business online, where can we do that, my darling?
Well, you can find me at Victoria1867. That's 1867 on Twitter and Facebook and whatever else. But I'm quite poor, so I won't be in New York. However, you can find me and James in the Riverside Cafe from 9:30 on Saturday.
Yep.
Absolutely. And of course, James, if people want to book a drunken interview with you, old boy, where can we do that?
Yeah, I don't have an agent for it just yet, so you can contact me directly. I'm on Twitter at James Marriott. And just for the record, obviously being an adult, this is not something that bothers me in the slightest, but I am now 27 followers away from my first 1,000, so you know what to do.
Lump on James. We've all heard that one before. Of course, you can get hold of me over there on Twitter at Lord H. That's L0RD_H. You can follow the podcast at TWWcast over there as well. Of course, send us an email. Nobody does. At twwpodcast@gmail.com. Do please help us to spread the word of the show. Preach the gospel of the Wednesday week. Like our videos over there on YouTube, and do give us that 5-star rating on iTunes too, and help us to get our word out there. Ladies and gents, it's been a pleasure. As always, be good, be safe, and we shall see you real soon.
Here's a chance here.